Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, brothers and sisters around the world. Welcome to Ramadan Reset from my little living room here in Istanbul, alhamdulillah, shukrullah, where the weather today, I'll give you a little weather report, cloudy, not much rain, and some lovely seagulls coming in from the sea and swooping up in the clouds. So I don't know if there's a bit of rough, choppy seas out on the Bosphorus. Where are you? What are you up to? And how is your 13th fast? Is it the 12th fast, but the 13th day? You see, I'm still not with the moon calendar. I guess it's our 12th fast, right? My husband will come and tell me in a minute, I'm sure. Ta'ala. So how's it going for you? Today, alhamdulillah, I didn't take a nap. Granny didn't take her nap, so she's going to be, might be a little bit grumpy. That's what I'm going to say. You know, I wanted to sleep and then I couldn't. So either I'm getting really acclimatized or I'm just going to go. So that's what fasting does for me. Alhamdulillah, we are in a beautiful time. We are almost midway through the month. It goes so quickly. We always say we're going to relish it, and then time, like sand, just pours through our fingers, and we're clutching at part of it. But the nights are so blessed and so long. And I am delighted to welcome back my very special friend and guest, Nicole Queen, who for some reason for the last week, I've been introducing every single day, just randomly. And tomorrow it's going to be Nicole Queen. You know, have you been hearing that? I don't know if you've been following, but every day I've wanted it to be you. I guess I want you to be here. And you are. Alhamdulillah. Wassalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Assalamu alaikum, everybody. Ramadan Mubarak to all of you. Inshallah, everybody's fasts are going well, and we are trekking along. We've passed that first 10 days of Ramadan, and so we've all gotten used to it. Alhamdulillah. The days are getting a little easier, I hope, inshallah. Thank you so much, Lauren, for having me. It's always a pleasure to talk to you. It's always such a gift.
Bless you. Nicole is a well-known photographer, and she has a wonderful podcast called Salam Girl. Did you like that?
That never gets old, Lauren, when you say that. Never gets old.
Some of my accents get old, apparently. But not that one. Not my Salam Girl. I just love the sound of it. You know, I love the way that Muslim words sound on different accents around the world. It does it for me, and we'll get into that another time. Today, with it being the middle of the month, and with this being a time of tribulation, and we can say plague around the world, people are feeling really impacted in different ways, and our hearts are lifted by the prayer and the dua. But what are we going to take further away from this, do you think, Nicole? What does it mean to deepen our faith in a time of difficulty, rather than ignore it? I'm a pusher awayer. Not really happening. I'm just going to smile and I'm going to trek on through. But that's not everybody's way, and that may not be the deeper way of doing things.
You know, not everybody experiences tragedy or fear or doubt the same way. The way we experience things like this, like what we've gone through with this pandemic, is all based on each person's individual life experiences, how equipped they are to handle things that are different or things that are scary. And I think that it really does kind of help people grow in a sense too, because they will learn a little more about themselves. Like, for me, I'm trying to pay attention to how I handle this homeschooling and everyone at home, and us not really having the type of schedule that we're used to, and being out amongst people, and how I'm handling this different Ramadan that we're having, and what can I do to handle it in a better way, because I want to learn from this, so that when another big, hopefully, inshallah, nothing comes again like this. But if something does, or even something bigger, like, we want to learn from this and just equip ourselves to be mentally stronger. But we cannot look at each other and say, well, you're handling this in a really weak way, or you're handling this too emotionally. This is impacting you too much. We can't really look at each other and say that, because we really don't know what causes each person to handle things that way. It could be something from their past. But one of the things that I think is super important, Lauren, is just that we maintain that really strong connection with ourselves. in that sense, and that we strengthen our own personal bond that we have.
Can I jump in there? Because I never really understand that strengthening that bond with ourselves. What does that mean?
So I say that a lot. What I mean when I say strengthening the bond with yourself is like, I feel like we are all this person. It's like there's someone that's inside of you, and then there is your outer shell. Your outer shell is what you show to other people. It's the strong face you show. It's the sensitivities that you show, the vulnerability that you show. But inside, you could be a tiger, or you could be showing people a tiger, but inside you're a mouse. So I feel like you have what is inside of you, and then you have what you're showing to other people. And the connection you have with what's inside of you is the bond that I feel you have with yourself, is understanding who you are capable of being, the maximum that you're capable of handling, having a grip on that and using that to your advantage to be able to combat things like this epidemic. I think that one of the things that a lot of people are scared of, and I've even gotten a few emails from girls, specifically like a lot of new Muslims have emailed me and just said that they are feeling that they have a lot of anxiety and a lot of doubt right now. And I know doubt is a really strong word. So when you hear doubt, like, do you immediately assume, are you doubting God? Are you doubting Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? That's an assumption that some people have, but doubt manifests itself in so many ways. So a lot of people are struggling right now with what does this mean, and how is this going to affect our futures, and is this some sort of end of times kind of thing going on, and they start experiencing all of these anxieties inside of themselves, and then they start looking around and saying, well, is what I'm doing right? Is this what I should be doing with my time?
So I guess what we're talking about here is bringing our Islamic understanding into overthinking, because
Yes.
that is the phrase. When we're crowded by thoughts, when they all come rushing in, and when we give welcome to them all, every single one, and when we feel the need to then invest in them and go down the rabbit hole, and when we can't stop that, when we get into that cycle, really that's the moment when our faith, is able to put up a barrier and say, stop.
Yeah.
Stop right now. Because this does make sense. And it does, and the sense doesn't have to be your sense or my sense. Allah knows what is happening. Allah is over all things in control. And we only have a snippet of the action. So in a way, don't worry. I mean, you can't say don't worry about it, but don't try and organize it in your mind.
Right. Overthinking is triggered a lot by stress. So a lot of people are feeling really stressed out right now because life is so different. And a lot of people haven't really had to withstand this type of stress for this long of a period of time. We have all been living a very different way for a long time, a lot longer than most of us have ever done. And so I think that a lot of people are being triggered right now. Triggered is a term that is used when you want to talk about something that is causing anxiety inside of you, something that's bringing out emotions that you usually are able to contain, or it brings out fear that usually you're able to hinder. So if you feel triggered lately because of the amount of stress that you've dealt with for the long period of time that you've dealt with it, then sometimes that creates this kind of domino effect of inner anxiety and turmoil. And then you start looking around and saying, well, I need to lessen my load. I need to lighten my burden. And sometimes people who haven't actually dug in the ground yet and developed strong roots in their Islamic faith, sometimes they will turn to parts of the Islamic lifestyle and say, well, these things are heavy on my plate, and I may need to lighten my load by removing some of these aspects of my lifestyle. And so I think that that is something I want to reach out about, is say, please, we all have to do our best to deepen our roots and to take times like this and say, this is an experience that has shown me that I need to work on deepening my roots so that my tree is very strong when those storms come. So, we have massive storms here in Texas for sure. And if your roots are not super dug into the ground, super deep, your tree can easily get ripped out of the ground. So we don't want that to happen.
Sorry, Nicole, I'm going to jump in because that you've really triggered an interesting point that I want to raise. It was very interesting what you said there about giving things up. So when we feel like there's too much on my plate right now, I'm harassed with all these thoughts, and then we allow Islam to become a point which is heavy on our plate, which was the term that you used, which I find really interesting, because what a mistake we make if we say, you know what, in order to hit that deadline, I'm going to miss that prayer. In order to be this best person to these other group of people, in order to impress with some other load or responsibilities, I'm going to shirk, very interesting word, I'm going to shirk my responsibilities to Allah. We've made the worst swap in the universe. We have dumbed down our life. We have switched off from reality to unreality and put ourselves in the most dangerous spot. And so when you're talking about roots, what other factors will allow us to make those good choices, Nicole?
So I think that what we can do to help deepen our roots is focus more on your individual feeling about Islam. Sometimes when you come to Islam in the beginning, there may be like a support group that is like been your village from the beginning. You may have this group of friends that you came to Islam and they were the first people that you experienced as Muslims. So there may be a spouse that you came to Islam through. Alhamdulillah, there's no problem with that. But what happens is sometimes we have to make sure that we deepen our own religious faith and belief system on our own, and that we take those baby steps into the faith. And even I want to say this also not just for new Muslims, but people who have been born into the religion that are recently practicing again, which alhamdulillah for them. But there's a lot of people who are not new Muslims, but are born into the faith and maybe just didn't practice until they reached this point in their life where they started to focus more on praying, on wearing hijab, on following the foundations of Islam. So for everyone, make sure that the first point is that you go to the basics of the 5 pillars of Islam, deepen your connection and your understanding with why those pillars are there, what makes them important, how they affect our lives and our futures. Start from the beginning, start small, and work your way deeper and deeper and deeper into the faith. You don't have to come to Islam, throw everything on, make it your appearance as Muslim as possible to please everybody, and then start learning tajweed. Like, you have to start from step one, the way that the people of the Prophet and the companions of the Prophet ﷺ, they didn't just throw Islam on them and say, okay, everything stops. There's no drinking. There's only 4 wives. There's this, there's that. You have to do everything right now this way. They were able to transition into this life. They transitioned into Islam slowly but surely. Different things were revealed to them. Now this is not permissible when before it was. Now that's not permissible when before it was. So in your life, when you come to Islam or when you are starting to practice, you don't want to just try to appeal to that group of friends or try to appeal to the spouse or the group of MSA students or, whatever you have in your life. You don't want to try to just fit in with them and look like them and act like them. You want to deepen your own roots, and that will come. The beard and the hijab comes when everything is in your heart.
MashaAllah. If you've just joined, you're joining me, Lauren Booth, and Nicole Queen from Dallas, Texas. She's a podcaster of the world famous Salam Girl podcast. making faith accessible to this generation in all
There we
parts
go.
of the world, mashallah. And we're talking about deepening our faith today. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just give a reminder and a big thanks to watan.org.uk for hosting this 30-day marathon of fascinating conversations that I've had with friends and colleagues from around the Ummah that we've brought to you every evening, mashallah. And they're doing this to highlight to you the chance that you can support a Syrian family in this holy month and beyond. You can set up direct debits, but above all, send these food baskets and water. They're £60, and the link is with Harris Khan down below. Just click the link. If you can't give £60, then a lot less on my Just Giving page is fine, or a lot more if you are benefited in that way from Allah Ta'ala. So I'm going to take some comments now, Nicole. We've got Ko from Doha, Qatar, says Ramadan Mubarak. Thank you so much. And Asha from Malaysia, who's with us every single night. It's lovely to see you again. I think it's late. I think it's midnight where you are, mashallah. She says, when we're feasting, we feel tired and angry. But if we suddenly get angry, take an ablution and our anger disappears. That's from the hadith where the Prophet, peace be upon him, said, make wudu if you get angry. And of course, if you're angry sitting down, stand up. If you're standing up, sit down. Change your condition. Islam, the wonderful thing about this faith is that we don't have to get stuck in negativity. There is always an action to take. I'll take a couple more comments, and thanks very much to Umar Abu, who's saying it's an interesting conversation. And mashallah, welcome everybody. Thanks again to Watan and to Nicole for joining us. I think, Nicole, when we're talking about being triggered, I think it's really important to just remember that Islam is really simple. Islam isn't complex. That the shayateen in our mind, the waswas in our mind, wants to make this world really complex. And even when we have multiple calls upon our time, mother, daughter, wife, cook, chef, bottle washer, gardener, chauffeur, these are all actually one job. It's being Muslim. It's being human in the condition of being Muslim. And I think sometimes what we do with our modern lives is we allow this Western context to separate things until it seems like a tangled ball of fluff. And when we pull all the strings out, we're like, oh my God, I'm doing all of this. How can I do it? How am I going to get through tomorrow? And you get that tightness in your chest. And then all of these, worries come in. And yet it's so simple. Brothers and sisters, we're here for one purpose alone: to praise and worship Allah in everything we do and everything we say. And it's not complicated. We live for Him. We're going to die for Him. We worship Him alone, and we pray in the night. And we just do 5 daily prayers. And if we can do more, do more. The thing about sunnah prayers, the thing about the optional prayers is these are an extra blessing. But the basic blessings are so simple. And so I think let's bring our lives down to that simplicity. When you feel that everything is getting noisy, remember ayat like this. Oh, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Oh, you who believe, fear Allah and keep your duty to Him. And let every person look to what He has sent forth for tomorrow and fear Allah. Verily Allah is all aware of what you do. Simple. We can only do, Nicole, what we can do every day, and what Allah allows us to complete will be completed.
Inshallah. If you think simply how many times we pick up our phone and we go down the rabbit hole of Twitter or Instagram or for you young folks, TikTok. So easy it is to stay on there and then get off and realize that 30 minutes has gone by, an hour has gone by, and you will put it down and go about your daily task, and then you'll pick it up again. Your phone even can tell you how much percentage of your day was spent on your phone, on your device. So when we think about the simplicity of things like we stop and pray 5 times a day, we do that for our Lord. It is so much less than the time that we spend going on social media, looking for recipes for tonight's iftar. It's just rabbit hole after rabbit hole. When I say rabbit hole, it's like when you go on to these apps and then you hit related and then you hit this link and then you hit that link and you end up spending 30 minutes when you were just going to Google how to fix the doorknob. So that's called going down the rabbit hole. This is part of your daily life. This is a normal part of your daily life. And when we talk about the simplicity of Islam and how some people are saying, well, I just can't, it's too much, it's too many things, it's this, it's that. And you just think how much time we waste in those rabbit holes, not for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, not to better our lives, not to deepen our hearts. It is a huge impact on you. And as much as I love the good that social media can be for spreading Islam to people, for helping new Muslims to feel connected and part of a community, for things like this, raising money to feed people who are needy. As much as social media benefits us in those ways, there are so many ways that it is a huge distraction in your life. And so deepening roots, making that tree as strong as possible, you will be able to handle something like daily tasks and time management and all of that, and spend that time that you need in prayer and spend the time that you need in social media and doing it for the right reasons. And of course, there's always time for you to go down rabbit holes and recipes. There's always time for that. You're not going to miss out just because you commit yourself to a little bit of worship every day. You're really not. One thing that we focus on our podcast, it is about being a convert to Islam. Majority of our audience is born Muslims, and they feel that it rekindles their feeling of their faith. They feel that it creates a sense of normalcy in their faith because we make it seem like this is normal to practice Islam, to maybe have a business on the side and be a mother and manage your home and still do all of the things, but having plenty of time for yourself and also having time to worship and also having, your own practicing, like wearing your hijab and helping other people, giving in charity. Like these are the kind of people that we boost on this show because we want it to seem normal. We want it to seem attainable to people because a lot of times people create these lists and they say, there's no way that I can keep up with this. And if you go from 0 and think, well, I need to be at 100 in order to be a Muslim, then you're going to fail. You're going to fall on your face within a year at least, maybe sooner, because you have to look at the clarity of it. You have to start with the baby steps, and you start from one thing and you just keep deepening those roots step by step by step. And then slowly that feeling that you want to change your appearance, that you want to change how you socialize, you want to change maybe the foods that you eat, where you hang out, what kind of friends you have, all of those things, those come when Islam gets deeper and deeper inside of you independently. It's so much easier to hold on to this faith and to feel happy about it, to have your own life in this faith and be happy about it. So much easier to do that if you do it on your own time and you do it your way and you do it yourself, not based on someone else's expectations. You will feel completely blissful the way that you wanted to feel, inshallah.
And I want everyone here, inshallah ta'ala, to remember our Syrian brothers and sisters in your du'as, because dua is the weapon of the believer. Weapons are not the weapon of the believer. Du'as are the daily weapons of the believer. And asking eases and relieves. I think we've reached a stage perhaps in our communities and families where we're less likely to express our feelings because everybody feels weird, strange, individualistic. And communication, although it's mass communication, is less real communication between parents and children and with the grandparents. I mean, that's a generalization, because at the same time, We are the most connected community, and I think it's sometimes it's counterproductive if we continually focus on what the problems are. Actually, we are the community with the solutions. And whatever we're feeling now as Muslims, so long as we're praying and we're doing our 5 pillars, and we're looking after our families, and we're avoiding the major sins, we are undoubtedly, brothers and sisters, in a better condition than everybody else. Just think of that for a moment. However confusing this situation might be, and this is for the believers and practicing believers, because why do I say that? Because the practice is what gives the ease, right? This is othering. This is a buy-in religion. This is an opt-in, not an opt-out religion. You need to press the button and take the action to come inside in order for the gates of the Almighty's khair to be fully abundant to you, and Allah can give help to whom He wills, and Allah can choose one person over another however He wills. But we know that by asking, by practicing, we're allowed to come close, to approach His grandeur, subhanallah wa ta'ala. There is a saying, indeed Allah the Exalted is the giver. He loves generosity and noble manners, and He hates bad manners. So when we see Islam isn't an A level. It's not an exam that we're going to take in the sense of, if you learn enough and put it down on paper, you're going to win. It's not that kind of lifestyle choice. It is a lived moment that eases the heart. So live it. Ask Allah to help us live it. Ask Allah to give us the sakina that we know was delivered to even the friends of the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon them, peace and blessings be upon him, and may Allah be pleased with them all, that they were able to sleep on the battlefield because the sakina came down. Allahu Akbar.
Allahu Akbar. When you look around at people who you consider them to be more pious than you, they're closer to Islam than you are, and you look at them and you think, why don't I feel like that? Why don't I have that much peace? How come Allah hasn't blessed me with that feeling? How come I can't feel satisfied with what I have? Why do I always need more? Why can't I feel at peace in my heart? I'm doing all of the list. The list meaning they're doing the 5 daily prayers, they're going to the masjid, they're dressing modestly, whatever they're doing, but they still feel like they are missing out on that. And what you have to do, all Muslims, newborn, all of them, what you have to do and what you have to focus on is that you submit yourself internally. That bond, that person that you have inside of you that you don't really reveal to others, that person has to fully prostrate to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You have to fully submit yourself to his love, to his guidance. Don't complete this checklist of Islam. Islam doesn't have to be a checklist of, well, did this, did that, did this, so I'm a good Muslim. No, Islam is a lifestyle. It is part of your heart. It's a part of the choices that you make. And the choices that you make should not be because they're on a list. It should be because I don't want to hang out with the friends who go to the bar anymore because it makes me remember going to the bar. It makes me think about going to the bar. It makes me want to go to the bar. All of those things lead to each other. So you think to yourself, I have to change the people I spend my time with because I know that that's what's better for me, not just because it's on my list. When you want to feel prayer, when you want to deepen your sense of prayer, it's not just, well, I need to just make sure that I do them. Why don't you deepen the study that you have, deepen your knowledge or your connection with prayer? So knowing how to memorize Quran is beautiful, mashallah, but if you have no idea what you're saying, then do you really feel a connection to your prayer? So deepening our knowledge of what we're saying, that's one thing that's always been something that I've struggled with. is just understanding what I'm saying in Arabic, you know, not just give me a pat on the back because I know this surah and that surah. I need to understand everything about it, because when you submit yourself to Allah, you want to get the benefits of that. I don't just want to check off the list and have the people clap and say, "Good job, you're a Muslim like us. Good job." You need to know what you're doing and why, and deepen those roots, because that's how you get the peace of your brother who has nothing and he walks around floating on a cloud. He walks around beaming with nur. He's so happy with very little that he has. And you covet that. We all covet that. Even if you're not a Muslim, you covet what it's like to be blissfully happy no matter what. We can attain to that level, but what you have to do is you have to get rid of the mindset of your checklist Islam, and you have to make Islam something that you deeply feel, independently you feel, not just because of your parents, not just because of your spouse, but it has to be something that is deep inside of you. Because when times change, like they have this time, when times change like they do in a divorce, when times change like they do when you lose a very important member of your family who has really impacted your life, how are you going to weather that storm? How are you going to make it through that storm if all you did was a checklist? Your checklist is going to go in the garbage. You have to have these things very deep, with a love very deep inside of you, for why you do it. Why do I do this? Why do I need wudu? Why do I need to prostrate? Why do I need to wear a hijab? Like, really, I want to feel that reason. I don't want to just do it because you said that that's makes you a good Muslim.
MashaAllah. Nicole, you know, knowing the meaning for things is pivotal to understanding what Allah is asking for us. And it is a really, really big step. It isn't an either or necessarily with speaking the Arabic, because what we all seek too is the meditation aspect. So we know Muslims who now will look for meditation outside Islam, but have given up on reading the Quran in Arabic. When in multiple places, you know, Allah Ta'ala says this will bring you ease. This is the book of no doubt. This is a book, repeat it, recite. The first word told for the Prophet, peace be upon him, when prophecy came to him, was recite. You know, read in the name of your Lord. Tell everybody this is what to do. And there is a holiness to the Quran in Arabic. So try to reach that stage, yes, where we take away and we know Allah's asking us to look at the clouds, look at the sky. There's no pillars there. I mean, that's a miracle. I mean, we can explain it by science now. And I only do that because, yeah, science exists, but it doesn't explain everything. That's why it's not like, oh, science doesn't exist. But science.
And there's science in the Quran. That's one of the things I love the most, the science that's in the Quran. That the space-time continuum is in the Quran. MashaAllah. Like, yes,
the fact that the universe is growing, is expanding, is mentioned 1400 years ago to an unlettered prophet in the desert. Subhanallah Azim. So the meditation aspect, you don't have to go outside Islam. We don't have to look somewhere else. Recite, stumble over those letters. This is something I'm going through right now. I had a bit of a wobble the other day. I said to my husband, I can't do it. I'm still on my Alif Ba Ta Tha. Basically, after 10 years, I'm pathetic. And I said, do you know how much blessing there is in that? And that night with the Quran, I was just flowing just a little bit, just an amateur flow, but just the connection. That's where we don't know what these reverberations do. We don't know the weight of those letters, but we know that Allah has promised a reward. So we have the yin and the yang. We have the understanding, so we know what Allah's asking of us. We know where to look for the answers. We know what to do and what to say. His expectations on us, and the second part is to read His words as they were meant to sound. Subhanallah. You know, it's time we talked to our brothers and sisters about Syrian refugees. Sister, go ahead.
So, guys, what we're doing here, the whole point of being here is just that we are trying to reach out to you you are so blessed. All of us, we're so blessed. Like, you're sitting on your iPhone, you're on your laptop, you're on your devices, you're watching this live from the comfort of your home. Inshallah, that's your situation, inshallah. And so what we're asking is that, because we're so blessed to only worry about not being able to flock to the malls and not being able to have the amazing Eids that we're used to having, these are our biggest concerns right now. So we reach out to you that there are others whose concerns are so much harsher. Their concern is being able to break their fast. Their concern is being able to have water and dates. Simple things. Their concern is feeding their children, maybe a blanket for their child, maybe something small. Like, it could be anything like that. And what we're trying to reach out to you is to help us provide a modest basket, with the things that these people need, nourishment for their bodies, with the things that we compare ourselves, to what we're worried about. What they're worried about is just eating and just having the dignity to break their fast. So help us to provide them with these food baskets, a month's supply, mashallah, a month's supply of food, get them through Ramadan and through Eid. Provide them with that dignity, the same that you have yourselves every single night. And by helping us with this, we're raising money for these refugees, for these children, for these mothers, just having nutrition so that she can nurse her child. These simple things that we take for granted. And I know we say this every year, every Ramadan, we say we take for granted all of these things. But this year, what you take for granted, because you thought that it was going to be taken from you. You thought that you weren't going to be able to shop anymore for food. We thought that food was going to be gone. The shelves were empty and everyone was very afraid, afraid for everything. We didn't know what was going to happen. We were hoarding in our homes. So you got a taste of what that's like. So imagine what that's like for people who are living that way every single day. Every single day where they live, there are not shelves stocked with food that they could go out and purchase, and they don't have the money to do so, even if it was.
SubhanAllah. Thank you. That's beautiful, Nicole. And I want to just share with you the importance of giving people the food that is relative to their likes. So in this food basket, and clean water for one family for 1 month. There's rice, 8 kilos per family. There's bulgur wheat to make those lovely, lovely salads from Asham. There's wheat flour, there's pasta, chickpeas. Who cannot have hummus? I don't know how you make hummus in a refugee camp. I don't know how you do that, but they will have a way. They will have a way of
probably
making
better than we do. Yeah,
and it will taste better than we do,
yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that love and that blessing in it. Lentils, that staple diet of the poor universally, such a blessing from Allah to fill the stomach with all those wonderful minerals. And beans and green peas, so there's vegetables there, and olive oil. You can't live without the staple, right? Sugar and dates and salt for a bit of flavor. This is a really, it's epitomizing wanting for our brothers and sisters what we want for ourselves, wanting that ease so that they can know, Allah, you've brought us this. Thank you so much. Because, in these refugee camps where there can be 100,000, 200,000 people, right? They don't know which tent is going to get the next parcel. Let's be very clear about this. It's not like you can order on Amazon. There is a list for the UN Relief Works Agency, a list for different charities, and there is a list for watan.org.uk. And what we're doing by the grace of Allah is we're answering du'as. And we remember the Prophet, peace be upon him, who said, you will not believe until you love for your brother what you love for yourself. And that love means the absolute. It means more than the basics. It means giving without thinking of restraint. I mean, this really is what a brilliant month to be giving, brothers and sisters. The believers are like one body in their mutual love and affection. If one limb is injured, the rest responds with sleeplessness and fever. Imagine you've got a huge gash on your arm and it's throbbing. We need to be like that with Syria. You know that? It's like it's a throb. It hurts. Our limb, the limb of the holy land of Sham, is damaged, is in agony. And what we can do to ease that is to give charity, to help, to rebuild, to keep the peace until Allah's plan is clear, subhanahu wa ta'ala. But now I've got a Just Giving page, and some friends have made some donations. Be my friend, make a donation, inshallah ta'ala, help with your akhirah and mine, inshallah ta'ala. Nicole.
And that of our kids, you know, when we give and we do for others, and your children, they're witnessing this. What you give and what you do for others, you need to do it in front of your children. They need to witness what you do. When, you know, you can hear my children in the background, and I told them that I'm coming and I'm going to do this live, and that we're trying to raise money to feed people who are poor. And, you know, my daughter, when we go out of the house, rarely that we do that, when we do it more often before, she would see someone and she would think, just because someone was sitting on a bench in a park, she would think, Mommy, can you go and give him some money? Can you give him some food? And I would ask her, why do you want to do that? Do you think he's struggling? And she would say, well, isn't he? And she would just look around and try to find people that she thought maybe they were struggling, maybe there was a reason why they were sitting all alone, and she would just want to give them something. And it's such a blessing to hear my child do that, because we think here, especially here in the West, our kids are, you know, mashallah, they have what they need. And you always have this fear that they are not going to learn how to give, and that they're not going to learn how to have compassion for others, which is one of the pillars of our faith. It's a pillar of Islam. It's a very strong pillar of your relationship with yourself, because nothing feels as good as giving. I mean, don't you know how it feels? Even something small, when you give a birthday present to your mom, how good it feels when she opens that gift. Imagine how you will feel knowing you're feeding a family for a month, a family who's fasting just like you, a family who has so little. Imagine how that's going to feel. It's addicting. It's an addiction, a good addiction. Okay. It's something that's going to keep going. You're going to want to give more. And as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, like, the more that you give, the more that he's going to bless you with. You are racking up your bank account in the hereafter. You're building your big home in the hereafter every time you give. So it is an investment. It's equity for you.
And you know what's lovely? I just want to welcome Brother Usman Abdullah Malik. Salam alaikum. And Sister Asha, we can talk another time about your, she has a Chinese convert sister who she's lost contact with. So can we all make dua? I'm about to finish. My fast is coming to an end here in lovely Istanbul. So let's all make a dua. Ya Rahman, Ya Rahim, Ya Qudus, Ya Salam. Oh, most merciful. Oh Allah, bless our brothers and sisters around the world. Oh Allah, help the Ummah through this trial. Oh Allah, protect our homes from this plague. Protect our hearts from the plague of not knowing you, of being distanced from you. Oh Allah, protect our health, protect our well-being, protect the Ummah, Ya Allah. Let us understand we are one body, Ya Rahman, Ya Rahim. Let us value you and your teachings more than we value the things that are reflections of what you give us, Ya Allah. Let us not hold on to this life, but seek the akhirah, Ya Rahman, Ya Rahim. Oh, subhanallah, and Allah bless Syria, Ya Allah bless Sham, Ya Allah bless Sham.
Bismillah. Thank you so much, everyone who has joined us for this. Inshallah, I hope you will just hear our words and our pleas to you, to reach out and give, and reach into your hearts and give, and use it to teach your children, use it to benefit your own Ramadan. This is a special Ramadan, and you've got to take advantage of that. You've got to use that and give more than you have. Give more than you have, because you have the capability of making more. You can go to work soon. You can make more. You can take care of your family. There are so many people out there who that is not an option. After this corona, nothing's going to change. It's going to be exactly like this all the time. There's no social distancing. There's no shelf at the store that's going to be restocked every morning and you can try again to look for your product tomorrow. That doesn't happen for them. We can reach out and we can provide for them dignified parcels, dignified with spices, with salt, with sugar, with dates, not just oil and rice. So this is just providing them with a dignity to have a blessed Ramadan just like you. If you need pictures to make you feel, look at the pictures. If you need to look at a video to make you feel something, look at the videos. They have plenty of them on the website. Go and look and see the faces of the people that you're going to feed. Just know that you're doing something. This is for you. This is for your family. This is setting up a legacy for your children, that you're givers. You teach them that you are givers because we are Muslim. This is what we do.
Allah bless you. Thank you so much, Sister Nicole. May Allah bless you. We look forward to seeing you in a week's time. May Allah protect you and give you all the abundance of this blessed month for you and your children. Go run to them and see what Nicole is going on. Sounds like a crash in the background. Thanks again.
Yeah, alhamdulillah. Nothing's broken, alhamdulillah.
See you next time. Thanks, Nicole. Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Brothers and sisters, I'll be back tomorrow with Tez Ilyas, the comedian. I'm going to go and break my fast. May Allah bless you. See you then, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.